Hey, Greg.
This meeting is being recorded.
You got it on my phone. On my phone.
Hey, what?
Hit the mouse.
So let me chime in on that real quick because I did a panel at the ACAR convention yesterday, and
Oh, got it.
last year we'll officially get started in a couple of minutes here. But hey to everybody, and I know it's a beautiful night out, so thank you for everyone on here. We've got it recorded. We'll share it. I talked about that yesterday at the panel, and when I was at RIS Media Conference last year and Gathering of Eagles, there was a couple institutional investors, some big names behind investing. They said that they are pushing the big change in lending is going to be a change from 30 days to a 7-day close. And they thought with technology, they were going to be able to get there within the next 2 years. I was in the state of Maryland. I think it's almost impossible to do it in less than 8 days, unless it's a cash deal kind of thing. But I think that's going to be one of the biggest changes in the industry over the next year or two too.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, any county that has a lien seat requirement, it won't work.
Well, you know what? It's about time those lenders did something. I know, right?
Well, that's right now, Malik. But I think the industry is going to demand that it changes.
They can try, but good luck getting Baltimore City to move.
Well,
or even Frederick County or Howard, which has a blue sheet requirement.
Yeah, and right now in Maryland, I think it's like 8 days is like as quick as you can do it.
Yeah, if you order your lien certs ahead of time, the title company will order them, or if you order them before you even have a ratified agreement, but they expire in 30 days.
Yeah.
So, it can be done. It's going to be pretty. It's a very aggressive move.
Yeah, I mean,
so
I don't know.
What's the advantage though? If people are living in the home, they're not going to be able to get a mover and get out that quick. Or are you just saying these are vacant properties?
Well, they might be, and they might be able to. I mean, I've tried to put myself in that position a couple of times, and if you want to sell your car, you can go down and sell your car in a day. If you want to sell your house, why should you have to wait 30 days? You know what I mean? Maybe, I don't know. That's the paradigm we've been living in for so long, but why can't it be 5 to 7 days? Who knows?
Why can't it be?
That would be really nice, because then we could do 5 more transactions a month.
Well, and I'm a pragmatist. The longer we sit in contract to close, nothing's good going to happen. The buyer's not going to offer more money for the home while we're in contract to close. It's not going to fall together more. It can only fall apart. So from a pragmatic standpoint, let's get it to close.
Right. That is true.
All right. Well, everyone, I am trying to monitor the waiting room, and thank you guys. Thank everybody for showing up. It is a beautiful, beautiful day out there. I will get us kicked off. Welcome to JPAR Stellar Living. Kudos to you guys for having an in-office meeting and there's wine being served.
I don't know what you mean.
All right.
You're winning.
We don't know what you mean.
See, Kevin, you could have been paying with us.
So Greg Ford
preferred out there. I didn't know.
Yeah, and don't anyone let you think that Greg Ford's over there drinking out of a water bottle. We all know that's good water.
That's Finlandia.
So, and then on my agenda, is welcome and introductions. We've got Maryland Living, Preferred Properties, Stellar Living. And I know that Trish was going through some personal stuff. So Hughesville and Real Estate Professionals may not be on tonight. She was dealing with some issues with her mom. But we also wanted to sort of welcome JPAR 5-Star Properties. I'm not sure. I don't think Jason's on, but I see Kevin. So welcome, Kevin.
Woo! Yeah, sorry, Jason's sick. He wasn't going to be able to make it, but he did say hello, everyone, and he sent his apologies.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we hope that he has a speedy recovery. But Kevin, you want to introduce the office and tell us a little bit about where you guys are at and what you guys have going on?
Yeah, sure. So, hi everybody. My name is Kevin Edson. Jason Spears is my partner. He's the broker. You guys will meet him. Whoever hasn't met him, I'm sure you guys will meet him soon enough. We just opened our brokerage over here in the greater Baltimore area. Our office is specifically in Columbia, Maryland. But we're doing the greater Baltimore area for real estate, focusing there. We are doing, I think we just scheduled our open house. I want to say for the 24th. I got to double check. But I know Jason's already spoken with corporate about that. I will double check and let everybody know. Outside of that, we have 5 people, including myself, working on our licensing currently. Like 5 good friends of mine that are already gung-ho and getting ready, and got a few referrals out. So things are promising. Things are going really well. So,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Tell everyone
Excited.
where your office is.
It is in Columbia, Maryland. It's right off of Old Columbia Road. Off of Shaker Drive in Columbia. I don't know if you guys know Columbia at all. It's in Howard County specifically.
How close is that to the mall?
Not far.
Excellent.
It's like 5
Yeah,
minutes.
not far at all.
Well, welcome, and we'll make sure that we get out the when you guys do the grand opening. We'll make sure we get out that info.
Yeah. Oh, I guess I'll write down the our address in the chat.
Perfect.
But yeah, we'd love to see you guys. Thank you. Definitely.
Awesome. Welcome to the family.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Jessica, you've got a guest this evening. Is Bill online with us in the office?
Yep, he's right there. He's under my name though, because I gave him my login. So you guys, let me introduce Bill Hang. He's with House Lens, fabulous photography services. They are almost nationwide, but they're very big in our area, and just a great resource for us. So I'm going to turn it over to Bill because he's wonderful.
Awesome. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. Great to be with you guys this evening. So thank you, Jessica. Hopefully your wedding plans are getting closer and closer. Excited for you and your family. But anyway, I want to just take about 5-10 minutes just to introduce myself. And I'm a big fan of collaboration and service, and being in the industry for almost 22 years, believe it or not. I know there's some important elements to helping brokers and teams grow, and we know today more than ever the importance of professional marketing and visual media, interactive floor plans. So I just want to show a quick share screen, if you don't mind, just so you guys can kind of get a sense. So we're a full service company, and we're, as Jessica mentioned, we had tremendous coverage. As some companies are letting go some artists, we are actually adding because of our business volume. And it will just be an honor to support any of you, any of your needs, any of your clients. We do a pretty phenomenal job, and that's why we're staying busy in this tight market. I'll send my information to Jessica. She can kind of disseminate out, but love to work with any of you. Again, give us an option, give us an opportunity. In this day and age, at the end of the day, it doesn't hurt to have options. And I think
See how it's not. Yeah, so you kind of like, you guys can see how this photography, the 3 is different. It's not like stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. It has a better flow to it.
Yes, and we do a lot of different things too. I just want to show you this part here. I think this is something unique. If you can see my screen with this, do you see my screen here?
Yes.
Yep.
So we're doing some leading technology. So we're one of the trending things right now, and I'll stop in a couple of minutes, is interactive floor plans. I think with the demographic of the next largest home buyer, and obviously the baby boomers are buying investment properties, but we know consumers online are expecting this type of media tour or media interaction to help them make that decision, to help them take the next step. And we're delivering these pretty cool interactive floor plans that engages with the consumer online. It just elevates your brand too. So when we're talking about building digital trust, you have to have these type of media available. And I tell our clients all the time, they're winning business because they're leveraging us as a marketing partner and showing these tools, sending these out to potential homeowners to kind of elevate their marketing skills and making them become a tech forward agent. Because I think when you can demonstrate your marketing skills, you can't say, list with me, I'll give you the best marketing or best service. You can't measure service, but you can measure marketing. And that's where we come in. But anyway, I can send you guys some examples. Again, we're full service. We do virtual staging as well. We do a lot of editing. And our price point, nobody can beat our price point in terms of the quality and delivery, fastest scheduling time, fastest turnaround time, you name it. So I'm excited to collaborate with Jessica on RRC. We're going to sponsor that amazing organization. And any of you who have events, local events, reach out to me. Again, I'm a big believer in collaboration. So if I can support one of your local events to help elevate your brand and grow your brand locally, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you so much. So you guys, I'll get that information out to you. And I will just tell you, it's like a couple of days to schedule. You get your pictures within 24 hours.
Yep.
And like, it's stunning. It's beautiful.
Well, you guys have any other questions before I hop off, and you guys can continue to join your wine. And the best ideas come from having Bob wine, just so you guys know.
Bill, we saved your glass. So when you get back up here, we're ready.
Yes. Thank you. I think there's a chat. Let me see here. Is there a question in the chat? Okay, no.
I think it was Kevin putting his address.
Well, thank you again, Jessica. Thank you, everybody. Pleasure to meet you virtually. And I look forward to, again, hearing from you guys soon.
Awesome.
Thanks, Bill.
You. Kevin,
Take care.
you heard that for your grand opening.
I'm sorry?
Sorry?
For your grand opening.
Oh, yes.
You
I'm
should do a
going to
big
look it
event
up.
and have house ones come out and do a show.
Let's do a great video. I mean, that's how you want to get engagement out there. So be happy to do that. Take care, everybody. Have a great night.
Oh, we'll be reaching out. Thank you. You as well.
All right, you got it. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Awesome. I'm going to jump into the agenda real quick here. Actually, let me screen share. Pop on the agenda. I'll try and keep an eye on the waiting room because people are popping in and out. Got key areas of focus, just making sure, obviously, we're all transitioning into .loop. JPAR has a lot of phenomenal resources during that transition period. They've got the .loop trainers site, which is very reminiscent of the transaction desk, but special trainings, one-on-one, embedded videos, anything that you would probably want to know about .loop. So that is on there. They also are running the Q&A weekly .loop if you want to register for that. I think that is I'm going to say every Monday that you can register for the Q&A on .loop. So tons of support from corporate and .loop themselves. And again, the support customer service number in .loop is phenomenal at the bottom of any of your Loop transactions. So anything from Jessica, Malik, Greg on .loop from you guys, from your office standpoint, anything that you guys are doing? I know JPAR Maryland Living, we've got 2 upcoming in-person trainings on our brokerage specific templates. So anything you guys want to add to that?
No, Dotloop seems to be working pretty well. It took a little while to get all the libraries organized and everything, but it really seems to be, working pretty smoothly at this juncture.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, so both Dotloop and the broker end have done a reboot of their systems this week. I think Dotloop was on Tuesday, and the broker side was today. So you may see some changes, but understand that if you're in Dotloop and there's been an update that might affect your loop, you may want to reach out to us because it won't automatically update any existing loops.
Good to know. Okay, moving along. Contracts and compliance, we'll touch base a little bit with, so we'll touch in with Dana and Sonia a little bit on kind of the coaching thing. Again, when I was presenting yesterday at the ACAR convention, and we had talked a little bit earlier on our leadership call about this, the state of the market, it's, if I were to use a word, it is skittish. This market is hyper reactive right now. It's obviously very hyper local, but we're seeing notes of COVID again, but in a kind of a different way. So the big thing is to reach out. If you're having any issues, if you're presenting offers on the buy side, you guys feel free to chime in. Make sure that your lender, there's different layers to pre-approvals, right? Like a regular pre-approval means almost nothing anymore. They have a fully vetted, clear to close premium. Most of these lenders have premium pre-approvals where they're basically they're conditionally underwritten already for your buyers. So if you're making offers, you just need to present it in the best light possible. Get with the lender, your preferred lender that you're working with, and make sure that you are in a hyper state of communication with the listing agents from a buy side. And if you're, again, opinion from a broker, if you're working with sellers, make sure that you are setting expectations, letting them know where we're at in the market. If you're seeing multiple offers, the new state of the property inspection addendum with kind of a general right to walk away, make sure all those conversations are being had up front so that no one's blindsided by it. And if you want to negotiate so that there is no general right to walk away, they have to negotiate or something like that, all those conversations are happening up front. I know, Greg, you might want to chime in on that, or what are you guys seeing when it comes to working with both sellers and buyers in this market? It's a little, like I said, skittish.
It's case by case. If a listing's hot and let's get a lot of activity the first weekend, there's not a lot of negotiations. Once it sits, though, everything's fair game. That's kind of what we're seeing, at least.
Yeah, for sure.
Negotiation on inspections, price negotiations, pretty much, everything. So. Yep.
Sonia, what do you got?
I was just going to pipe in that, yeah, there's a lot of COVID-esque things happening, but our job, both as the realtor, really, regardless of what side it is or what side we're on, is to represent our clients the most fair as possible. And personally, I think waiving a home inspection is ridiculous, and I think that listing agents encouraging their sellers to accept offers that waive home inspection is incredibly irresponsible. So I think having the conversations with your brokers and your coaches and figuring out the best way to structure your offer is key right now. There's a lot of listing agents I have noticed that are in their first year or so who don't really have the knowledge of what to look for in an approval letter and a contract. So those of us who are a little bit more seasoned or have the support of coaches and great brokers, that kind of puts us in a great position to help our colleagues along and really make it a win for both the buyers and the sellers.
What are you guys referring to as COVID-like behavior? Because to me,
Um,
COVID-like behavior was when they would never
Psychotic.
let anybody see a
Right,
property after
right.
5 people, and
Right.
I'm not seeing that. So I'm just curious what you're referring to as COVID-like behavior.
So it's irrational.
The way-
I would say
Irrational.
You mean like a seller's market?
well, it's
Not
an
even a
irrational
seller's market.
market to the point. Yeah.
It's unfounded fears that are manifesting themselves in ways when people are uncertain of the market happens every cycle.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So, and I guess this question is for the group. Is there ever a situation where you would recommend, if there's multiple offers on the table, knowing that maybe some of those offers are waiving home inspections, that you would recommend your client to waive their home inspection as well to be competitive?
Or do a pre-inspection?
I'll tell you my
Or
philosophy.
do a pre-inspection, or better yet, do like a
Yeah,
informal walk-in talk, because we just don't have the time. And knowing we have always faced multiple offer situations. We have never not faced a multiple offer situation. Every single home we put an offer in, it's multiples.
Well,
Even 5 years ago, he was having this problem.
Well, no, I will say that I've been speaking to home inspectors, and they are changing their offerings to try to address the market and be responsive, because several home inspectors are going out of business. They cannot, you know, they're not getting enough business. And so I have people who didn't believe in walk-in talks now doing walk-in talks. I have people who are making this thing called inspected homes so that listing agents can have the house inspected ahead of time, so that it is offered where the copy is laying out. And so they're testing that right now. There are a lot of things that people are doing to try to, the home inspectors are doing to try to respond to this market. So
I think those two things are phenomenal. Like, I mean, if you're on the list side to do a pre-inspection, you know what you're entering into. I mean, if they don't have the wherewithal or the means to correct some things, then you can sort of invoke that renovation loan thing on the list side to even say this is available for this. We know there's certain defects within the home, but we've got an answer for that. The walk and talk is totally, I think, an option that's on the table right now, given the current conditions of the market. And when I say skittish or irrational or COVID-like market, I guess what I'm referring to, and I was speaking to a ton of lenders and agents at the conference yesterday, and they seem to be reiterating what I was talking about. Like, we've had multiple deals where with the new property inspection addendum, you know, they have a general right to walk away. And we had at a price, I'll give you an anecdotal story, at an $800,000 price point, 3 sets of buyers, and 2 out of the 3, because of where it was located in Howard County, actually, were first-time home buyers, doctors. However, it was a feeding frenzy when it first went live. There was 30-some scheduled showings, 30 groups for the open house. They just needed to get their offer in. They made an offer above list price. And the second they went to bed and thought about it, they started having buyer's remorse. Like, there is a lot of buyer's remorse anyway, and generally in a market. But in this market, I think it was emphasized. And we had a buyer that happened to walk on the general right to walk away during a property inspection addendum, which at that point, now you have a stigmatized property where there might not be anything wrong with it. The buyer's agent actually relayed to me, in hindsight, I think what they're looking for is more of a new construction, which is crazy because we ended up taking the property off the market. We sat for 4 or 5 days. They terminated the contract in the general right to walk away period. And then all of a sudden now we have to put it back on the market, and everybody's going, well, what happened? So it's kind of that, and everyone in this hyper reactive state, because we don't have as much inventory, and it's a feeding frenzy, so to speak, I guess is what I was trying to say when it's somewhat notes of COVID.
For us, it's normal spring market, but it's just still even hyper beyond that.
I just had a
Well-
property that was that $1 million property in Bethesda, and it was a bargain. Everybody walked in and was like, price was fine, condition was beautiful. The standard line out of every single person after 50 showings. Okay, my clients love it, but let us know if you have another offer.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. And then
Well, what-
once we did
Well,
ratify,
people are getting weary of
Yeah.
unrealistic expectations from sellers who expect, 50,000 over asking. We're going to waive the appraisal, no inspection, and we'll pay for a year of Netflix for you. So like having realistic conversations with the sellers. Yes, we want to get you as much money as possible. And you need to be selling a house that's healthy. You need to be selling a house that nobody's going to get sued in a year, 6 months over. So I think, again, it is our responsibility not only to represent our buyers to the best of the ability, but also set realistic expectations for our sellers and try not to get, commission breath and numbers breath and just like, this is your house. Let's be reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went
Just
through
my-
that. We went through that same thing, Jessica, when we had to put the property back on the market. We went back to, we had a flurry of new showings, but everyone said, well, let us know if you're going to set an offer deadline. Let us know, it was just weird. The whole dynamic of the property and the listing changed, and it was funny.
This is spring market because people haven't been looking. I mean, this to me is very normal. Early spring market. It's starting a little later this year, but the home inspector I spoke about, his thing is he's going to offer a pre-inspection, like an inspection for the seller, and then they get 6 months of a warranty where it's like $500 to fix anything. A $500 deductible to fix anything, any systems in the home. And I think it's a $75 for smaller things. So I don't know. I think there are some good plans out there we should be sharing.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that a lot.
I can have Bob Murphy come and talk about it if you want. He's really good. He's doing it's called Inspected Home. There's only 2 agents doing it in Maryland right now, and he's the second one. So
okay, the other thing I would say, going back to what Tanya brought up on pricing, is to remember when clients are thinking, oh, I'm expecting to get 50 grand over asking or 100 grand over asking. But remember that the comps that they're looking at right now, where we originally are pricing their home, are already taking into effect last year's 50,000 over asking, 100,000 over asking. That house that should have sold at $1 million that sold at 1.1, that is your comp at 1.1.
right.
You're not going to get an additional 50 to 100
Right.
on top of that. We already have that comp in.
Yeah.
But the
I
area-
mean,
we're
there's a
sharing
level
that and that
leveling off.
with our seller.
What if they?
And appraisers are hard this year. Lots of appraisers aren't taking in, like, I've had 2 where the appraisal has come back lower, even though we only offered, 10K over asking, and the appraiser's like, no, this is the number that the neighborhood is showing. And I don't care that there's 4 or 5 other listed at a higher price. So again, it's all about the conversations that you're having and setting the expectations. And I mean, sellers are going to be sellers. Like, we can't control humans, but if we're having the conversations, putting it in writing, so there's proof that we have said this to you. This is what we think. Then I mean, I think that's just us doing our best.
Yeah, and it goes back to, the age-old adage is, communication, and set those expectations. And we have to do so more than ever when it's not a balanced market. It's just not a balanced market right now.
And I think we also need to get our lenders to be putting them at ease and not telling them to wait.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I've heard a few people tell me, well, my lender said I really shouldn't buy right now. And I'm like, why? You think it's going to be cheaper later?
Right.
Like, interest rates are not going to go down to 3% anytime in the near future. So, like, if it's that you're worried about, the prices are going to go up.
Yeah. And then, so this all dovetails kind of a little bit, and I'll share screen again. Lisa Sturdivant, the economist for Bright, had a quick little economic update today. And the good news was, on a sidebar conversation, inflation numbers came down today, the lowest they've been in 2 years. So that was good. No crystal ball, but hopefully we see some things course correcting when it comes to rates a little bit. All right, let's see.
Supposed to go up a quarter point in May.
Welcome to Bright's Market Minutes. I'm Dr. Lisa Sturdivant, Bright MLS Chief Economist. There are a lot of conflicting signals in the housing market right now. Usually we would be gearing up for the mid-spring market with sellers getting their homes on the market and buyers touring homes with agents. This year, buyers are interested despite higher mortgage rates, but sellers are still sitting out. And in some markets, it looks like we might have hit a ceiling on prices. So what are 3 things to watch in the market this spring? First, let's be sure to watch mortgage rates, which have fallen for 4 weeks in a row. The drop in mortgage rates came as uncertainties in the banking sector sent investors looking for safe places to put their money. But mortgage rates could be on the rise again because the Federal Reserve has signaled it's not done with its inflation-fighting rate hikes. Second is home prices. Prices in the Mid-Atlantic had been stable or rising, even as other markets in the U.S. had seen price drops. But this month, the median sales price in both the Baltimore and Washington metro areas was down compared to a year ago. This is a first for Baltimore since 2018, but it's the second drop in 4 months in DC. There have also been year-over-year price declines in some of our other smaller markets, particularly in central cities and in some rural areas. Home prices could come down more in our market, but there's no reason to expect major price drops. Finally, we need to keep an eye on sellers. New listings have been very low heading into the spring, and buyers have really been out ahead of sellers. Many homeowners are not going to be enticed to sell because they have a rock bottom mortgage rate. I do expect new listing activity will continue to stay low this spring, and we'll really need to wait until the second half of the year to start to see improvements in new listing activity. That's it for this month's Market Minutes. Check out Bright's monthly and weekly housing market reports on the Bright MLS website. And don't forget to register for our monthly housing market webinars. If you miss them, you can always find a recording on the Bright website. See you next month.
So again, kind of, I think reiterating what we're saying, and also the fact that real estate is, as we know, hyper local. So in different market, it's different. Some of the rural areas are seeing some different trends, and even micro markets with elected city or municipalities or wherever it might be, we see certain different engagements as far as showings as opposed to the county overall. So keep an eye on that. Make sure that you have your finger on the pulse of what your market is doing. Stay on top of that for the sake of your clients, for sure. Moving along on our agenda, we already shared the open house disclosure for the Maryland Real Estate Commission. That's out there on both the DMV sites, and I'm sure the brokers have shared that with you. If you're doing open houses, make sure you have that Maryland Real Estate Commission disclosure. It's kind of a broker's note. The Maryland Real Estate Commission just offers disclosures. They have nothing to do with contracts. The state board of realtors and the local board of realtors are the ones that put together contracts. The Maryland Real Estate Commission puts together disclosure notices for us, like dual agency, recommending a dual agency within a team, disclosure of licensee status, disclosure of open house that you have to put in there. So make sure if you're doing open houses, you have that proper open house disclosure printed in color, at least 8.5 by 11 or whatever paper size is. They also, the Maryland Realtors, pivoting a little bit, has put together a really phenomenal infographic on fair housing. Sometimes it's hard to, let me share that. Sometimes to stay on top of, the fair housing. We are going to, from a broker standpoint, have this available for our sellers to initial. But, just keep in mind there's 7 protected fair housing classes, 4 from a state level, and of course, local municipalities and/or counties have their own protected classes as well. statewide. One of the big ones that came online recently is source of income, and that also protects the type of loan. So VA, FHA, you can't have a seller say, we're not accepting VA financing.
The building may not allow it.
No, we've heard real
No, I
estate,
know
other
that. I
agents
hear
tell
that.
us that they're not taking VA loans.
They're violating fair
Fair
housing
housing.
in Maryland now.
Yep. Yeah, that is a big problem right there.
That is a reportable offense, and you may wish to give them a gentle reminder.
Show them that infographic.
Yeah, just send them that and say, hey, I think you really should consider my client's offer.
Yeah.
And if you present it, regardless of whether they're accepting them, they have to present it to their seller. They have no choice.
Unless they're instructed otherwise in writing in the listing
Right.
agreement. So
Yeah. And if
But they certainly
put it,
they can't deny an offer based on the fact that it's a VA loan.
correct.
But what if you know that the house won't pass a VA inspection?
We've had
Go ahead,
that
Mel.
where there's a commercial element that owns more than 10% or something of the building. And then one owner owned more than 10% of the units. And so we have said, like, this property will not pass VA. I mean, it's that you just, if they want to write the offer, you accept it and present it, but you know that in fact, it will not pass.
Yeah, so that has to do with the VA's qualifications for multifamily. But when you get into townhouses and single family dwellings, there's, you know, regardless of what the VA's certificate of reasonable value and any lender required repairs, it's right in the addendum on whether the seller has an obligation. You fill in the amount that the seller would be bound to, 500, 1,000, whatever it is. And so if you know that the house is going to need one of the big hot items is handrails going downstairs. So you should have a pretty good idea of what that's going to cost the seller to put it in. They helped ease the pain by allowing the buyers now to not only pay for the termite certificate, but buyers are also, VA buyers can also pay for the repairs from termites.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And then I'll get to you in 1 second. Get to you in 1 second, Sonia. So just be careful. And again, you don't want to, and from Maryland Realtor standpoint, they have suggested that you do not put, this property is precluded from FHA or this property is precluded from VA financing. And you can't make the assumption anymore that we're not accepting VA financing because there's no handrails or there's this, that, and the other thing wrong with the property, because there's easy remedies to that problem. VA renovation loans, all kinds of ways around that. So just don't assume what you may not know per se.
Yeah, the VA has similar programs that the FHA does on the 203Bs and the other eligibility for, so that the veteran can in fact borrow additional sums to correct deficiencies. And as long as it's part of the contract, it will then be able to be approved for the CRV based on the ARV after renovation value. It requires some additional inspections, but it still puts the buyer in a competitive position.
Yeah.
The other thing, Greg, the other thing to keep an eye out is the second highest period for 5/1 adjustable arms was 2018, and we are in 2023. So all the people that had 5/1 adjustables are now looking at having to either refinance or possibly sell and take their equity and get into either a smaller home or something that may be a little less expensive up front. So go back through your records and look at anybody who closed in the last 5 years, 2018 or slightly earlier, they got an arm. They may be a perfect candidate for a letter.
It's a great point. And did you have something to add, Sonia?
Well, I had a question and I had a thing to add. My question is, because a lot of times I will submit an offer because I work with a lot of VA people and we'll get rejected. And then I'll say, okay, well, how could our offer have been stronger? so I can report that back to my buyers. I want to have a reasoning. Is it a violation of fair housing for the agent to say, well, the choice was between a conventional and a VA, and the seller chose the conventional?
They always do that to us.
Yeah. I mean, I'm no lawyer, but that would appear to violate.
Then the
that.
answer shouldn't be VA or conventional. That should be down payment or something specific,
Yeah.
because you can do a VA loan with a larger down payment than zero. And so
Correct.
If they say it's a VA loan, that's a fair housing violation.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if they leave it in the terms
Okay.
that you just said, that seems to be a source of income fair housing violation.
I have had people say, well,
Okay.
the other person had a higher down payment or a higher earnest money deposit. And I'm always curious if it's because it's VA, but they were smart enough not to say VA.
Yeah, because both of those don't really affect the seller anyways, especially if the buyer, like the EMD I've always found to be a really weak excuse because they keep it.
If appraisal's an issue.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it can, but if both FHA, VA, and if you choose conventional, all have appraisal contingencies. And there are conventional loans that are at 96.5% LTV. So the difference between them and the FHA is who's paying for the mortgage insurance.
Yeah.
Literally, that's the only difference.
There's conventional loans at 97% LTV.
Yeah, I saw one the other day and I just went, wow, okay.
I just had a lender tell me she'll do 100% down FHA. I mean, 100 or zero down FHA.
Yep.
Then you will also start to see, even in the conventionals, you're going to start to see some 80-10-10s where the secondary mortgage lenders are now starting to take another look because of stabilization of interest rates at the potential of helping people avoid paying PMI or MIP, depending on which realm you're in. And I just did an analysis on one. So the last piece that I would look at is if you're listing properties, talk to your sellers in advance about whether any or all of their mortgages are assumable. Because if you want a way to keep your price higher, if you can find an assumable mortgage, and there are some lenders that are out there willing to look at them, you can get a blended rate that makes the mortgage payment lower, and therefore the total loan to value and debt to income ratio more palatable in the long run.
Yeah, the assumable mortgage market out there, it's a ticket to talk, but there's really, like, even if you're talking about VA, it's very unlikely you're going to do a VA assumption. It's just super unlikely. You know,
But here's why. Here's why, because I was going to say, tell them why. Well, because with the VA assumption loan, yes, they can assume the amount of the loan that the seller still has left. But if the seller has $250 left on the home and the home is priced at $500,000, the buyer has to come up with the extra $250 cash.
Well, they do, but
so they're only
assuming
the amount of the loan that's left over.
But they can do that through remember, the VA is not the lender. The lender is a VA backed lender. It could be Chase for all you know.
Right.
That lender may be willing to accept the split risk, and it'll take you from a total of 6.5, 50-50. You blend it, you're now at 4 3/4.
Here's your fun fact of the day. Anyone can assume a VA loan. You don't have to be a veteran.
Correct.
People think that all the time.
But Greg, if somebody assumes that VA loan, then that VA owner that sold it may not be able to get another VA loan.
Right.
And that's the
problem.
And that's why you're not.
They can get another VA loan. The amount that is assumed is wrapped up, so they won't get their full entitlement back.
Correct.
Yeah, the only way, I'll be honest, the only way it works, and I've only seen one in 20 some years. The only way it works is if you have, and there are situations where it could work. Like if the person that has the VA loan, let's say they know they're going into an assisted living or something, they're never going to use their VA eligibility again. And it just, I'll be honest, it's a ticket to talk. It rarely occurs.
But also, don't forget FHA and USDA ag loans are also assumable.
You're 100%. Yep.
Yep.
And in my opinion, I'll just say it one more time. I think it's a
Tell us about that.
it's a great talking point.
For your sellers, it's an opportunity for them to be able to get a better price.
Yeah.
Based on being out, say they're, if they're retiring and they're going into a small community, they're downsizing. It's an awesome. Just put it on the table.
And while we're on that point, like, people talk about like buy downs, 2-1 buy downs or whatever, and you kind of immediately think the buyer. It's very rarely a good necessarily out of money pocket because it comes with there's a lot of caveats to that, but it is potentially a great seller's tool to offer, a potential credit for a buy down and stuff like that. Again, it's a ticket to talk, a talking point. So have those conversations with your lenders so that you can be proactive in the marketplace with that kind of thing. Moving on.
Can I have one more thing?
Yes.
So just one more thing, and then I'll be quiet, I think, for the rest of the time. Another conversation, again, to have with your sellers, because there has been so much misinformation about the VA loan put out there, and everyone's afraid of appraisals, so on and so forth. Educate your sellers that the VA appraiser, he has 4 boxes to check safety-wise when he goes through and does this little appraisal check. The FHA guy has 23. I don't know how many a conventional person has because no one cares about conventional loans or whatever. But that's a really great piece of information for them to have because it's not that scary. And the appraiser is looking to make sure your house is safe. So why, Mr. Seller, would you want to sell an unsafe house? Get with a lender who can go through that with you and verify what I said is true. I promise it is. And, just have those conversations, empowering your sellers that, VA loans are just as awesome, if not simpler to process the lender wise as a conventional. And not that the FHA is bad, because it's not, it's an amazing tool, but the amount of boxes it has to check is way freaking lower. So that's all.
So I just did a VA loan on a condo in 11 days. So you just have to have the right lender.
Yeah.
Yep. Not finding that it's the seller. We find that it's the agents that are guiding, because that's mostly all we do are VA loans with the military. That's all of our business.
That's all we do. That's all we do is VA loans.
And it's literally the agents that are like, that's not going to appraise, or, oh, that's not so. So it's not
like that. Like I actually had someone who got me on the phone with the seller because she said, I've never done a VA loan, but can you explain it to them? So I think it's, we got to keep chipping away at it.
Yeah, we have to educate. I'm not sure who was off camera, but 100% to your point, we have to educate agents. And in my personal experience, I've had more luck questioning VA appraisals. It used to be called the Tidewater Initiative.
But do you have the pictures I sent you?
Greg, I can hear you.
Yes.
Greg,
no, I don't.
Greg, you got to go on mute.
I don't.
I don't think this girl knows what she's talking about. So I need to
mute him, Greg Fisk.
I muted him.
Thank you.
So,
oh my God.
It used to be with VA, it was called the Tidewater Initiative. Now it's the reconsideration of value. But that process is in place for the buyer's benefit. If they want that property, VA says, we're going to give you the ability to contest that appraisal, and maybe we'll raise the appraisal value. It's actually meant so that the appraiser will relook at it and help the buyer get into that property if in fact we can show that it should be at value.
Yeah.
Well, and another really cool thing that a lot of people don't know about, but it's a thing that has happened because I've had it happen twice now, is the buyer can directly submit a request to the VA, even if the appraiser refuses to come up in value, and can say, hey, I'm willing to pay this price. We're good for the money. Please let us buy this house. So the buyer can request that, but it is all about working with a good lender. It's about knowing, the contract and understanding what's going on. And let me tell you that I had a conversation with the agent the other day, and I was like, hey, how long have you been in the business? She's like, a year. I was like, oh, cool. How many contracts have you written? And she was like, 0. And I was like, well, why? And she was like, I haven't had the opportunity. And like, that is a bunch of BS. We as realtors have an opportunity to write a contract every single day. Why? Because we have access to the MLS, we have access to the docs, and we have access to lender partners that can help us grow. So we can step up our game and assist other agents and get that message out that it's not about turning a key and looking cute on a TikTok. It's about understanding the contracts and getting in really good partnerships with your lender partners. That's how we're going to best represent our clients.
Yep, for sure. Professional standards, contracts, compliance, understanding that process. It's going to give you more confidence. It's going to be a better look for you and your clients, no doubt. Moving on, we're closing out. I got coaching update from Dana and Sonia. I think you guys have kind of been giving us coaching updates as we've gone.
I had something to add.
Yeah.
It's Fair Housing Month, and I don't know if you guys know, but the Maryland Realtors has updated what used to be called workforce housing into something now called the Housing Opportunity Certification. If you go to the Maryland website, Maryland Realtor website, and you look under, professional development certifications, they have a map that shows where you can take these classes. And they have a calendar rather on when they're being offered, and you can click. I'm taking one on May 18th with virtually with PG Card. That's $20 if you register now for a full day and you earn a certification. So just recommending that we take a look at that, as we're all trying to be as diverse and aware, especially for our buyers who are in competitive situations. We should be understanding all of the loans that are out there and available to them. So I'm just bringing that up.
Awesome. Yeah, that's fantastic. I highly recommend. Dana, if you want to share any of that with me, I'll make sure it goes out on the email recap too. Okay. And make sure you guys are talking to your lenders about the Maryland Mortgage Program. And every municipality has some grant programs available. There is some things out there that we need to educate our buyers on. We can't be the experts on everything, but make sure you're working with a lender who knows their stuff. Coming in to the finish line, just positive shout outs from the office. I know it's been there's a lot of headwinds out there in the market. Just want to give a shout out to Maryland Living. We were up 25% first quarter year over year. I know the market was down, so kudos to our agents for plugging away. We can't wait to see the spring market and some inventory come on so that we have more options for buyers and we get in conversation with the sellers, but kudos to those. I don't know, Jessica, do you guys have anything?
No, we're good. No, if you have anything.
I got upcoming events. If you guys have any events, JPAR Maryland Living, we're doing headshots and happy hour on the 19th. We have a photographer coming in. And we also may be playing around with tryitonai.com. I signed up for it today. It's the artificial intelligence thing that does headshots, profile pictures. Yeah, it's like glamour shots, but for the 2023. And,
Malik looks so svelte in his picture.
Yeah, Greg, they took 50 pounds off me in one picture. I was happy. Then the other one made me look like a terrorist that doesn't look like me. Hold on. Let's see if I can
find. I think Jason tried that. Like half of them looked like him and half of them did not.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I've heard. Like you gotta pick and choose. Some of them look like you and some of you don't. I'm hoping that like mine, I forget the toy that you put like silly putty in and you churn it and then it like starts growing hair. Maybe I'll grow some hair or something.
Oh yeah, I had a nice looking black toupee in one of them.
It was the barbershop Play-Doh.
That's right.
That one.
Right.
I want some nice thick 70s hair. I want it back. I want that back.
Here, I'm gonna bare my soul. I'm gonna share my screen. See if it'll let me do it.
Give us.
I can't unsee this. I can't unsee this, Malik.
I know.
I can't unsee it.
The business one looks
The
really
business
good.
one's actually turned out pretty good. So let's go here and we'll share.
Oh wow!
Whoa! Look at you.
Oh, wow.
Show the one where you had the pink
That was
sheet on.
incredible. That was incredible.
Okay. Now,
That one, you look like Chris Sears.
yeah.
Wait, there's one.
Now, I don't know who this guy is right here.
That's a younger
No
you.
idea. All right,
Okay.
but
That's
then, you
awesome.
know, then I look like,
You know,
the-
you look like your brother.
I look like the banker from
Coldwell
Monopoly.
Banker.
But
Yeah,
then we get a little colorful.
You just popped
Oh,
off
I
on the
like
Monopoly
that.
board.
All right, and wait, I'm gonna come up with.
Oh, there we go.
17.
All right, so I'm gonna come up to the
This is how
one
they do those movie photos.
that I think,
Yeah.
all right, there you go.
I like it. Oh, the pink tux.
But
Oh my
but what I
God.
really like is that in some of these shots, they've actually, you know, they seriously 50 pounds gone. Right here, this
Wow.
one bottom left. I think that picture is gonna be on a bus that says, if you need a lawyer, call.
Heck yeah.
Oh my gosh.
If you got a phone, you got a lawyer.
Wait,
Oh, no, look at
I
that.
got
Oh, my
hair.
God. Much.
So, but here's the funny part. Some of these actually are usable. This one right here, I found, you know, it gives you a sense of nice smile. It's a calming effect. There's others that look a little shady or dark, you know, but this is based on,
That one looks like Animal Planet.
And they
yeah, there you go. There we go.
Animal Kingdom. Animal
Okay,
Kingdom.
so, and you know, the deal is, it cost me about $250.
There you are on Succession.
There I am, yes. And here's the angry man. You want to pay what for that house? So anyway,
Nice.
I'm gonna stop sharing because the rest of them get really ugly. The
That's
point
awesome.
is this, that was $17.99 for me to take, and all I did was take a series of some selfies that I already had. I did use one professional headshot that I've used for, God, I don't know, 8 years now. But it's a whole lot cheaper than a $250, and you don't pay for the shoot. Usually they charge you for the actual shots that you pick.
Well, yeah. And I mean, if you want to go old school, we're having free headshots and happy hour at our office on the 19th.
There we go. I don't have enough outfits, Greg, though, to make that
That's
work.
that's the rub right there. We can't put you in some leisure wear.
No, I was looking for my, you know, light green velvet collared tux, but I can't find it.
Nice.
There you go.
So what is that service for 17.99?
It's
What
called
What time is you
Try
guys'
It
the
AI.com.
headshot on happy hour?
Yeah. Kevin, it's headshots and happy hour at our office on the 19th. So you're more than welcome.
What time is that at?
4 to 6.
4 to 6. Oh, I guess happy hour, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
the
makes
fact
sense.
that they threw hair back on me, that was awesome.
Not hair you'd ever had.
I'd like to see what they do with women though.
Well, it's not quite as flattering. You got to be very careful.
Yeah.
Where's the happy hour at? 46.
I think they're off
Annapolis.
in Annapolis.
Or,
Annapolis.
Maryland.
So here's the deal. I highly recommend that for your initial professional shots, you get a professional to shoot it.
Right.
Sure. It's fun. It'll be fun. It's fun to play around with. We'll see. I've got some other things. I won't bore you guys with it. I did a thing on there's a new
Right.
Chat GPT is doing amazing stuff. There's another thing that we're investigating. I think it's, gosh, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I will put it in the follow-up. You guys can share it. I also did a prompt for productivity, like 80-20 rule, like how should I spend my time? And it came with some amazing things on productivity suggestions and stuff like that. So I'll share that with the follow-up email as well as everything that we talked about.
Great.
Fair housing. I'll get the information from Dana.
Anyway,
Anyway, thank you very much. So again, thank you guys on a beautiful day for checking in. I'll keep it at an hour. Great job, Stellar Living, for having wine at your office in your meeting. But if you guys have any questions,
For leading the meeting, unrelated.
I'm sorry, I had one quick question.
Yeah.
One thing, I will send out the exact date, but around June 20th, 24th, around there for the grand opening. I'll make sure we get out the date to you guys. One thing that I did want to ask, one of our agents was talking about or asking about what things we have in terms of safety, what things we have implemented. And I can't remember if we had talked about any programs that we like over at the celebration. We talked about a security guard program, or if I'm just doing that, I can't remember at all. But in terms of like, if we're doing like knocking door to door, things like that, do you guys have any types of programs that you guys already work with in terms of like safety for that, I guess? Did that make sense?
Yeah. There's some great agent safety apps out there, or apps for like agents at open houses, or apps that agents can implement. I'll shoot over a few of them to you, Kevin, as well.
Okay,
but it's definitely there's definitely some apps out there that agents can implement and use in their day-to-day business.
Okay,
so for sure.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, guys, if you have any questions, reach out to your office manager and or broker. Thank you guys very much. If you have any questions for me, hit me up, 410-260-0202. You guys have a great evening.
You too. Bye.
You as well.
All right.
You guys take care.
Bye-bye.